Hey, I'm Samantha. For years, my mom has been teaching me to hate all guys and just to use them. And I did until recently when everything changed. Not only for me, but for my mom as well. You see, my mom has always been an extremely beautiful woman, but for some reason, she was always very unlucky with men. They've always lied and used her. Even my dad left as soon as he heard that she was pregnant. This led to my mom becoming very angry at men. She continued to take care of herself, always dressing up and being super pretty. She used that to get back at men. She would go on dates with them to expensive restaurants and make guys pay for everything. And then after a while, she would dump them. She started to teach me the same things, and I'm ashamed to admit that I followed her lead. For example, I acted like I liked this one guy, and he took me to the movies and would pay for me in cafes. Once I told him that I wanted this beautiful, expensive dress for my birthday, and he spent all of his savings to buy it for me. Shortly after that, I told him it was over and blocked him everywhere. I made another guy sing a song for me in front of everyone and then made fun of him. Basically, I did that a lot, and my mom always supported me. I realized I was wrong, though, when I met Timothy. I planned to do the same thing to him, but he was different. We planned to meet at a cafe, and when we did, he said, "Hey, let's go to an art gallery instead." I was interested because no one ever asked me to go somewhere like an art gallery. We went there and we were staring at paintings and also modern art stuff. And at first I was like, this is so boring. But then he started asking me questions like how those paintings made me feel. Afterward, we went to a cafe and I just couldn't stop talking with him, because he was listening to everything I would say and asking the most interesting questions. By the end of the date, he paid for me, and I felt that I wanted to be with him. But not like before. I wanted to really be with him. When I told my mom about him, she said, "Oh, okay," but I could see in her eyes that she wasn't happy about it. She was scared for me, I guess, but couldn't express it correctly. I continued to date Timothy, and sometimes we would just hang out somewhere in the park and talk. I was never tired of talking with him. My mom started to act like she always did when she was offended or upset. She would forget to make me breakfast or suddenly comment that I gained weight, but she would never say that she was upset directly. Then she surprised me and asked me to invite Timothy to have dinner with us. I was so happy, but of course I forgot that it was all a trap. We got to my house and there was no food, and my mom was like, "Oh, I forgot about it. How about we order a pizza? Oh, I forgot my credit card at work. Timothy, can you pay for the pizza, darling?" I was furious. We left afterward, and Timothy was super confused. I told him everything about my mom and myself, and he was surprised because he had always seen me as this good, kind girl. After a while, my mom was okay that I was dating Timothy, but asked for his parents' phone number so she could call in case of an emergency. I was happy, but of course, this was another trap. You see, Timothy's dad had been single for many years. So, after a while, Timothy called and asked me what the deal was with his father going on a date with my mom. I confronted my mom about it, but she said, "Well, if you can do whatever you want, why can't I?" Timothy said that we should keep out of it because his dad was a smart man and would figure out what was going on soon enough. So, after their date, my mom came home, and she was glowing with happiness. She was singing a song and also brought me a delicious cake. I was suspicious because usually she wasn't happy after her dates. And then another date happened, and another, and many more. And every time she was happy and kind. It was weird. She even stopped dressing up as much as she usually did. She was okay to just go in a simple pair of jeans. I asked her what was happening, and she couldn't look me in the eyes and would twirl her hair with her finger and say, "Nothing," in a very sweet voice. She was definitely planning something bad. I told Timothy that he needed to alert his father as soon as possible, and Timothy reluctantly agreed. He would later say that his dad was very sad, but because he, the same as my mom, had bad luck with women, he decided to call off the date and honestly tell my mom the reason. I was relieved, but not until I arrived home and my mom wasn't there. I thought that maybe she was running late at work or was doing something else, but she would usually call. I thought it wasn't a big deal, so I waited. I tried to call her, no answer. Okay, I waited a bit more. It was getting late. I called again, no answer. I started to panic and went to her work and asked people who were still there if my mom was there. They said no, and that she was very upset today and was arguing with everyone. Mom would never argue. She would just be passive aggressive, you know? What was happening? I called all her friends and nobody knew where she was. I'd almost lost all hope, so I decided to call Timothy. He quietly listened to my panicky screaming and said that he would ask his father about it. Soon, Timothy and his dad arrived with a car. His dad said that maybe she might be in one of the places they used to go on dates. I suddenly realized how similar Timothy and his dad were. He would also take my mom to very cool and romantic places. She particularly enjoyed the observation deck, so we drove there. When we arrived, Timothy's dad said that I should go alone. I did, and I was so nervous. I finally arrived at the top floor, and my mom was sitting there, watching the city lights. She was sobbing and a little drunk. I went up to her and I asked what happened. She was surprised that I found her. I told her that Timothy's father was there. She bit her lip and asked, "He is here?" I hesitated because I was afraid that she was still going to hurt him, and I was also selfish because I didn't want her to date my boyfriend's dad. But I got over myself and asked if she really liked him, not like all those other times. She nodded and said, "He is different." I answered, "I know." I called Timothy's dad and asked him to come up, and he did. I took a few steps back and let them talk. My mom had this glowing look on her face again that she had every time she met with Timothy's dad. And then they kissed. So I went straight back to the car because, ew. So now I date Timothy and my mom dates his father. It's weird. If they got married, they would technically make me and Timothy half siblings or something. But my mom found her happiness, and it made her change in the same way that I changed. My mom is not perfect, and neither am I. I guess we both learned to compromise and to listen to each other better. Do your parents sometimes act weird, like they are teenagers and not adults? Please tell your story in the comments and subscribe to see more videos like this.